The classic zombie has been in Minecraft since 2009, but this guy right here was actually planned to have a much bigger brother that was labelled in development as the Giant. Standing at a whopping 12 blocks tall and having a width of 3.5 blocks, the Giant is an oversized mob that can only be spawned with commands on Java Edition. However, the Giant was added all the way back in Minecraft InDev in 2009, and at the time in that version, the Giant did actually have AI and walk around like any other hostile mob. The Giant, when provoked, would walk towards the player and attack you, dealing a crazy amount of damage, essentially being able to one-hit you. But yeah, over the 15 plus years the Giant has been in Minecraft, it has always remained as an unused mob, and like I said, doesn't have any AI. When you spawn the Giant in, you can attack and eventually kill the mob, and it also doesn't burn in sunlight despite being a zombie. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that I don't think Mojang will ever continue developing the Giant as an actual mob in the game, but I think they would have made a pretty cool challenge for something like a villager raid, for example. But let me know what you think. Do you think the Giant belongs in Minecraft? Up next we have the Killer Bunny. That's right, during the 1.8 snapshots in 2014, Killer Bunnies were introduced as the much more frightening counterpart to the original rabbits. The Killer Bunny for most of its lifespan has been an unused mob, but during the snapshot phase for 1.8 it was actually able to spawn naturally, having a 1 in 1000 chance to spawn. The spawn rate for the Killer Rabbit was then reduced from 1100 to 1 in 2500. The Killer Rabbit was then changed to be an unused mob, and it's remained that way ever since, and you can now only spawn it in by using commands. With their bloodshot horizontal eyes and faster speed, the Killer Bunny was ready to pounce on any player that dared to get within a 16 block radius of them. Now, if we take a closer look at the Killer Bunny, you may notice that the style of which they attack the player resembles mostly to the spider. Once they notice the player, they will slowly close in and then jump to attack, dealing 4 hearts of damage to you on just normal difficulty alone. Now, I think the Killer Bunny was a pretty cool mob, but Jeb didn't seem to think so, as right as 1.8 was set to release, they were removed from being able to spawn naturally in survival mode, and like I said, can only be spawned in by using commands. Jeb had several reasons as to why the Killer Bunny was removed, with the main one being because players thought it was unfair to be randomly killed by a rabbit they thought was friendly, only to be suddenly attacked. Even Jeb himself showed distaste for the mob, explaining that the Killer Bunny didn't really fit in by being a hostile mob. Now, even though technically the Killer Bunny was in the game briefly, I think this counts as a mob as not being fully implemented, as it was gone pretty much as soon as 1.8 released, with no signs of it ever returning. As you all know, our helpful delivery friend, the Allay, was introduced into the game back in 2021. But this may not have been the case, as the Allay, along with 2 other potential mobs, were showcased in a mob vote during Minecraft Live that same year. Now, those 2 other mobs were the Copper Golem and the Glare. Now, the Copper Golem was added fairly recently, but we still haven't gotten the Glare, so let's take a look at what this mob was going to be. So the Glare was going to be a passive, bush-looking mob with big eyes designed to help players understand where mobs would spawn in dark areas. So if you, the player, was stuck in the deep depths of a huge cave with no torches left, the Glare would be able to warn you by flying to the exact spot potential mobs would spawn. The Glare's facial expression would also change into a grumpy look as another way to indicate the player that the area was dark enough for mobs to spawn. Had the Glare won the mob vote, it was even hinted that they were also going to light up an area in certain circumstances, although not much is really known about this. Despite all of this, however, only 11.2% of the player base voted for the Glare, so I can't confidently say if we're ever going to get this mob in the game. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think the idea for the Glare is kind of useless, as most players already understand where hostile mobs can and cannot spawn. So yeah, sorry Glare, maybe you'll get added one day. Maybe. Taking a look at the next mob, we have to go back to the earliest days of Minecraft, which is the pre-classic phase. This was before zombies, creepers, skeletons, and even the passive mobs such as pigs, cows, chicken, and sheep. Now, since this version of Minecraft only lasted a week, you may not have remembered this first mob that was developed, and it was simply called the Mob. Now, taking a look at this mob in this pre-classic world, you can literally just see that it's just the original default Steve skin. There was even a feature in pre-classic where you could press the G key on your keyboard and spawn the mob in. You could also spawn as many as you wanted, by the way, so it looked absolutely ridiculous. Now, these original mobs are best known for their goofy looking walk animation where they would just aimlessly walk around and flap their arms. They were also able to jump around, causing them to sometimes fall off of the non-infinite world, which was just really funny to see, man. Despite the mob being a simple prototype that Notch created to test out for his new game, it actually had a long history of being used as an asset to develop into new mobs. But yeah, the original Steve mob in pre-classic will always be iconic. Not to be confused with the mob, the monster was created a year later in the 2010 InfDev version of Minecraft. Now, the monster was actually a hostile mob and would walk towards the player and try to attack and kill them. The monster was in Minecraft from InfDev all the way up to Beta 1.8, but that whole time it was an unused mob and could only be spawned in by using commands. But when you did spawn in the monster mob, it was really unsettling because it would just walk towards you like a normal player would, and you'd think it's maybe one of your friends on a server, but no, you're on a single player world and there's a Steve trying to kill you. For example, I played a Minecraft custom map back in the beta days called Sunburn Islands, and this map had spawners on it where the monster would spawn from it, and at the time, I thought it was Herobrine and it terrified me. I don't know, man, something about the way they would walk up to you with no sound, might I mention, and start attacking, not even using their fists by the way, it was just really creepy. But it's not all bad, as if you were to attack the old monster, it would still make the iconic old damage sound that we all know and love. But yeah, the ability to spawn in the monster was removed in Beta 1.8, followed by all traces of the monster being completely removed in Release 1.11. So I guess all I can say is, rest in peace monster, you will be missed, even though you are terrifying. Over the course of Minecraft's early development, Notch had many ideas on what he wanted to implement into the game. And would you believe that at one point Notch wanted to add hamsters? That's right, it seems that hamsters made it quite far into Minecraft's development, as Notch had created 8 different colour variants for this mob. Just look at how cute the hamsters are, man. I think I like the golden one the most, but let me know your favourite hamster colour in the comments below. Now, along with the colour variants for the hamster, Notch also hinted towards the hamster's behaviour working similar to how the wolves function. What I mean by that is that the player would have the opportunity to tame a hamster by using apples, and you were even able to make them sit by right-clicking on them. It also would have been really cool if you could craft a hamster wheel and just watch them run around in it all day long. It would have been really funny. Now, as most of us know, Notch departed from Mojang in 2013, and it's pretty much left the hamster to be postponed indefinitely. The Ender Dragon was Minecraft's first ever boss mob and was added all the way back in 2011. Now, what's interesting is when the Ender Dragon was being made, Minecraft creator Notch also expressed interest in adding a second dragon mob known as the Red Dragon. Now, the Red Dragon was intended to act as a friendly counterpart to the Ender Dragon and was going to spawn in the overworld. It was also hinted that players were going to be able to ride the Red Dragon as well, which would have been awesome. However, since Notch's departure from Mojang in 2013, it's unlikely the Red Dragon will ever be added. If you played Minecraft during the beta days, you may remember when the village structure began with no mobs, no villagers, nothing. This is because the creator of Minecraft, Notch, originally wanted the village structure to be populated with pigmen. Now, these weren't going to be your ordinary piglins, pigmens, they were actually going to be a different mob, but in order to know what these pigmen were going to look like, we need to go back to Minecraft Alpha. So during the alpha days of Minecraft, a player known as McLee suggested the idea of a pigmen mob to Notch. The idea of the mob was initially approved, and from this screenshot we can see that the pigmen's first concept design was just a regular pig but standing. Now, as I mentioned before, these pigmen were going to populate the new village structure in beta 1.8, but somewhere along the line in Minecraft's development, the idea of the pigmen becoming villagers was scrapped, and we were instead given the iconic villagers we have in Minecraft today. But this wasn't the end of the pigmen mob, as around a year later, the idea for the mob was revitalized, where a new pigmen mob was planned to be added known as the Pigmen Bodyguard. Now, the Pigmen Bodyguard was intended to act as a companion for the player, where they could attach armor and even weapons to the pigmen. This meant you could be fighting some zombies and skeletons, and your Pigmen Bodyguard would help you defeat them. But yeah, unfortunately the idea of the Pigmen Bodyguard also got shelved, and years went by where nothing was planned for the mob at all, and it was completely abandoned. Rest in peace, Pigmen, you will be missed. Although you were never really added. Back in the 1.11 exploration update, we were given many new features, such as the Woodland Mansion, new villager professions, and my personal favourites, the iconic llamas. What's interesting about this mob is that Jeb hosted a Twitter poll that gave players a choice to decide between bringing llamas to the game or alpacas. It was a pretty close split, with 58% voting for llamas and 42% for alpacas. This means there was a very high chance we would have gotten alpacas instead of llamas. Now, since llamas won the vote, we didn't have any screenshots or ideas of what alpacas would look like in the game. And while I find it sad that alpacas didn't make it into Minecraft, I think it's cool that Mojang gave the community a say into which mob made it into the game. Though this voting system would prove to be disastrous, as we had to deal with the dreaded yearly mob vote for years on end. And that very mob vote I'm talking about would start with Minecon 2017. During this Minecon event, we were given 4 potential mobs to be added to the game. These mobs would be based on a mob vote that the players could take part in. These 4 mobs were the following: Mob A, aka the Barnacle, aka the Monster of the Ocean Depths; Mob B, aka the Phantom, or at the time known as the Monster of the Night Skies; Mob C, aka the Great Hunger; and finally Mob D, aka the Wildfire, also known as the Hovering Inferno. 30 minutes into the mob vote, the first mob to be voted out was Mob A, aka Monster of the Ocean Depths. 30 minutes later, the Hovering Inferno was next to go. It was then down to the Great Hunger and the Phantom, and it was close. The Great Hunger received 48% of the votes, while the Phantom was the winner, receiving 52% of votes. Now, despite the terrible Phantom mob winning the vote, let's dive deeper into the 3 mobs that lost. Now, the Barnacle was going to be a hostile mob that could spawn in the deep oceans that could drag the player down with its tentacles and attempt to drown you. I don't know about you guys, but something about being pulled down into the depths of the ocean by a long tongue-like tentacle seemed absolutely terrifying. I mean, Jeb himself literally encouraged players to vote for this mob, and I think I have to agree nowadays, given how lacking the ocean can feel in terms of hostile mobs and its overall difficulty. However, it is unlikely we will ever see this mob added into the game, given how bubble columns were later added, and they function pretty much the same way as the Barnacle by pulling the player down in the ocean. The second potential mob that viewers could vote for was this cool looking chomper mob known as the Great Hunger. This mob was planned to be hostile and would only spawn in the overworld and has a lizard-like appearance to it. What's interesting about the Great Hunger is that they could camouflage into the ground and chomp away any items or mobs that fell into their ginormous jaw. The Great Hunger was also intended to remove enchantments from the player's items, which I think could have been one of the main reasons people voted for this mob, as the grindstone was not yet added into the game. It really is a shame we got the awful Phantom over the Great Hunger, man. The final mob within the mob vote that didn't make the cut was the Hovering Inferno, later known as the Wildfire, as it was planned to be added to Minecraft Dungeons as well. Taking a closer look at this mob, we can see it was intended to be a type of blaze mob and was only going to spawn in the Nether, which, might I add, would have been a perfect time to add this mob into the Nether update, but let's just forget about that. Anyways, the Wildfire was going to be covered in shields to defend themselves from any danger, and they weren't just planned to be a defensive mob, they were actually planned to spawn in groups and attack the player with something called the Shockwave. Now, we have no idea how lethal this attack was going to be, but from the name alone, it sounds utterly terrifying. This was definitely one of my favourite mobs from this mob vote, and I'm really sad it didn't make it into the game, as it would have made the Nether even more challenging. What was your favourite mob from the 2017 mob vote? Let me know in the comments. Also, once again, the Phantom is terrible. Anyways, moving on. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, there was a brief chance that sharks were going to be added into the game by Notch. He noted that he intended to make this mob passive, meaning the sharks would flee if attacked by the player, similar to other mobs such as the pigs, cows, and chickens. However, Notch's departure in 2014 left players unsure if Mojang were ever going to follow through by adding sharks. And here we are many years later, and sharks are still not in Minecraft, and Mojang have pretty much confirmed that they're never going to add them. Mojang's original reason for not adding sharks was because they thought players would attack and kill sharks in real life? I don't know, man, that's a bit of a stretch. But then Mojang kind of doubled down on the argument, stating that some sharks are an endangered species, which makes absolutely no sense as they added bees and pandas into the game, which were both endangered at one point. And also, I thought Mojang wanted to add mobs that were endangered to kind of bring more awareness to the fact they were endangered. I don't know, they just don't really make sense most of the time. But anyways, it seems Mojang are never going to add sharks to the game, which is kind of lame to be honest, because how could you not add one of the coolest species into the aquatic update back in the day? That would have just been awesome. But anyways, let's go back to talking about the old mob votes that all of us used to love so much. So Mojang were back at it again in 2018 with their yearly mob vote at Minecon. Now, what's interesting about this vote is that the players were able to decide one out of the 3 biomes to be updated with new features rather than just adding a new mob. As most of you know, the Taiga biome won the vote, with foxes being added as a new passive mob into the 1.14 Village and Pillage update in 2018. But what could have been added to the desert biome, I hear you asking? The short answer is meerkats. Yes, these little guys were intended to be a passive mob that could only spawn in the desert biome. Not much is really known about what ideas Mojang had in store for the desert biome vote, other than we were going to get palm trees and the meerkats themselves. Oh, and it also appeared meerkats were going to eat fish, but that's all we really know, as the biome vote lost with a measly 15.2% votes. The meerkats, however, were featured in a nice little cameo in the 2023 mob vote, which I thought was a nice detail, to be honest. Up next in the 2018 biome vote was the Savannah biome. Now, the plan for the Savannah biome, if they won the vote in 2018, was to add a new bird type to the game, which were ostriches. We were also going to get these baobab trees, as well as termite mobs, which could have taken the record of being the smallest mobs in the game. But anyways, back to the ostrich. So the ostrich was going to be a passive mob, and we can assume from this clip that ostriches were also going to dig their head in the ground when in danger, which is a common myth for ostriches in real life for when they are frightened. Now, while I do like the idea of the ostrich as well as the meerkat from the desert biome, I'm really glad the fox won the biome vote, as foxes were just an amazing addition into Minecraft. Not only were the ostriches not added in the Savannah biome vote, termites were another passive mob that could have been voted in by the players. Now, not much is known about the termites themselves, as there was no mechanic established yet, but if we take a closer look at the biome chooser video, we can see them crawling around on the mounds in the savanna biome, so we can only assume they would work similar to silverfish, where they can crawl in and out of certain blocks. Despite all of this though, I think it's pretty clear why players did not vote for the termite, as no mechanic was really established for them and they just seemed kind of underwhelming, to be honest. So now that we've covered both the 2017 and 2018 mob vote, let's talk about the 2019 one. Viewers at Minecon 2019 could vote for one of 3 biomes to be updated, which was the swamp, Badlands, and mountains. And as always, the biome that received the most votes was going to get terrain changes and of course a new mob. Now, as most of you know, the swamp biome won the vote, which meant we got the mangrove swamp biome as well as the beloved frogs. The mountain biome was the runner-up winner, which meant we also eventually got changes to the mountain biomes as well as getting the goat mob we all know and love. But the same cannot be said for the losing biome, which was the Badlands. If this biome won the vote, we were going to get the vultures. The vulture was going to be a passive bird mob that exclusively spawned in the Badlands. The purpose of the vulture mob was going to be that it circled around the players' dropped items if they died, which I think would have been a pretty cool addition to the game, to be honest. But here we are many years later and we still haven't gotten the vulture. Normally, when you find iron, gold, or diamond horse armor, you'll find them individually. With that said, there is a 1 in 1.9 million chance to find all 3 horse armor types in a single chest. While it would be insane to find all 3 horse armor types, you're likely never going to encounter this. Have you ever gotten 3 wither skulls back to back from wither skeletons? Well, if you have, then you're extremely lucky, as there's only a 1 in 64,000 chance of this occurring. This is the rarest axolotl in existence. This blue axolotl can only be obtained through breeding and cannot be found naturally. What makes it rarer is that it only has a 1 in 1,200 chance to spawn through the breeding process. Despite how rare the blue axolotl is, it's a really good feeling when you finally get one. The mending book is an amazing treasure item you can get from fishing, but is it the rarest? Well, no. The rarest item you can obtain from fishing is 10 ink sacs, as there's only a 1 in 1,000 chance to catch 10 of them at one time. While it is the rarest catch, it's pretty disappointing. Everyone knows that there is a 1 in 8 chance of you hatching a baby chicken from an egg. But did you know that there is a 1 in 256 chance of 4 chickens spawning from a single egg? But if you thought that was rare, it gets even rarer. To get 1 chicken per egg from 16 eggs in a row is extremely rare. This is due to there only being a 1 in 200 trillion chance for all 16 eggs to hatch a baby chicken. If this has happened to you, then you're just the luckiest Minecraft player alive. It's possible to find a naturally generated diamond block in your Minecraft world. If you're lucky enough, a woodland mansion can generate with the obsidian room. If you find this room, you can find a diamond block concealed within the obsidian. Now, this isn't the only room where you can find a diamond block within the mansion, as you can also find the lava room. If you find the lava room, then clear the lava out within the glass case and you'll find yourself another diamond block. These 2 rooms are the only places you can find a diamond block, making this very rare. When your Eye of Ender breaks, it's somewhat frustrating, especially if you arrive at the stronghold and no longer have enough for the portal. However, if you're insanely lucky, there is a 1 in 1 trillion chance of the end portal spawning with all 12 Eyes of Ender. Zombies are a very common hostile mob that you're likely to encounter in your world. However, there is a 0.04% chance for a zombie to spawn wearing diamond armor. Let's just hope they're not too strong and end up costing you your diamonds. Have you ever encountered the same Minecraft world twice despite generating a new world? Well, lucky you, as there is only a 1 in 18 quintillion chance for you to get the same Minecraft seed twice. A vast majority of sheep are white. Some are brown, grey, light grey, and black. However, there is also a 0.164% chance of finding a pink sheep in your Minecraft world. But if you thought the normal pink sheep was rare, you should try finding the baby variant. This is due to there only being a 0.0082% chance of finding a baby pink sheep in your world. There was once a time where you could craft enchanted golden apples with 8 gold blocks and an apple. Mojang then completely scrapped this feature as they're now only a rare item you can find in chests. The chance rate of finding an enchanted golden apple ranges from different structures. I'm really craving some soup. If only I had a bowl. I know, I'll just wait for this turtle to be struck by lightning. Yep, there is a chance bowls can drop from turtles when they're struck by lightning, because that's, normal. Pandas are a fairly rare mob, as they can only spawn in jungle biomes with 7 different variants. However, there's one panda that only has a 2.04% chance of spawning, and that is the brown panda. Deep slate coal ore is very hard to find in the overworld. This is because normal coal ore only generates at Y levels 0 and above. This means only a small percentage of coal ore will be the deep slate variant, as deep slate doesn't start generating until Y levels 7 and below. An ore that's even rarer though is deep slate emerald ore. In fact, this ore is so rare that it's taken the record of being the rarest ore in Minecraft. Despite how rare this ore is, you'll never believe what this Reddit user found. While exploring a mineshaft, user Infinity Stone stumbled across deep slate emerald ore and regular emerald ore next to each other, which is just insane. Wait, you thought that was rare? Well, how about finding 4 deep slate emerald ores in a single chunk? That's right, this Reddit user managed to stumble across 4 of these deep slate emeralds in the corner of a chunk. This might be the rarest ore find in the history of Minecraft. You wouldn't think it, but large ferns are pretty rare, as you can only find them in Tiger Village chests, only having an 18% chance of spawning. So if you manage to find a large fern in item form without shearing, then you're pretty lucky. Not sure why you would want to do this, but fair enough. Obtaining the dragon egg from the Ender Dragon is quite an achievement. This egg soon begins to feel even more valuable as it's considered the rarest block in Minecraft. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, the rarest biome in the game was the modified jungle edge. This biome was a variant of the jungle biome that only covered a millionth or 0.0001% of the Minecraft overworld. In other words, if you found this biome, you were extremely lucky. We've all seen apples and saplings drop from tree leaves, but have you ever seen them drop from the same leaf block? If so, you're pretty lucky, as there's only a 0.00025% chance of this occurring. The rarest mob you can ever find lives in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. The mob I'm talking about is the baby husk wearing full diamond armor that's holding a sword while riding a brown panda. And how rare is this mob? Well, it only has a 3.427 trillion chance of spawning, so good luck with that. Have you ever found a fossil structure? Yeah, me neither. So as of the 1.18 update, there are 2 types of fossils you can find. One fossil will generate with coal ore between height levels 0 and 320, while the other fossil can generate with diamond ore between levels -63 to -8. Not only that, but fossils only have a 1 in 64 chance to generate per chunk, making them the rarest structure in Minecraft. Mushroom Islands are a pretty rare biome you can find in your Minecraft world. But have you ever encountered a mushroom biome that isn't an island but is in fact landlocked? If you have, then you are insanely lucky. While it's a possible event, it's not really supposed to happen. Speaking of the mushroom biome, let's talk about the mushroom cows themselves. Typically, these cows are very red, but there is also a chance of coming across a brown mushroom. This event can only occur when a regular mushroom has been struck by lightning. Actually, that's not strictly true, as there's also a 1 in 1024 chance to breed a regular mushroom to get a brown variant. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, cocoa beans were a very rare and difficult item to come by. This is because cocoa beans at the time could only be found in dungeon chests, only having a 50% chance to spawn in them. I honestly don't miss this feature. You wouldn't think bells are a rare item, as you find them in every village. However, finding a bell in item form is a lot harder, as there's only a 1.4% chance to find one in a ruined portal chest. These things are so obnoxious, man. The Spider Jockey is a very rare and old school mob, as it's been in the game since the alpha days. With only a 1% chance of it spawning, it was for the longest time the rarest mob in the game. Nowadays we have much rarer mobs, but the Spider Jockey will forever remain iconic. Huge mushrooms are tree-like structures made of mushroom blocks. Now a huge mushroom's height is normally between 5 and 7 blocks, but there's a really small chance to find mushrooms at twice the height. That's right, if you're lucky enough you might have a Minecraft world that contains a huge mushroom that's up to 13 blocks tall. Just look at it, man. I could cry at how beautiful this looks. During the Halloween event, there is a 2.5% chance you can come across zombies, skeletons, and a few other mobs wearing pumpkins on their heads. It looks a bit goofy if you ask me. It's always fun to find a dungeon with a spawner, but could you imagine finding a triple spawner? Well, Reddit user Hurricane Husky was exploring when they found a triple interconnected dungeon. You're definitely gonna have a very powerful XP farm having all 3 of these spawners. It's pretty normal by Minecraft standards to find a bed, but did you know it's possible to find half beds? This event is very rare as it's usually a bug with the world generation. Some players have even found double half beds. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, a bug existed in the game when it came to grass. So within your world there was a grass variant you could encounter that was extremely rare, and it was known as snowy grass. This only occurred when an Enderman picked up a grass block with snow on top and placed it back down again. Now the chances are you probably never encountered this bug, as there was only a 0.0001% chance of it happening. I have to say though, this snowy grass did look really weird. The poisonous potato is the most useless item in Minecraft. However, it's also quite rare, as you only have a 2% chance of getting this potato. Though I'm not really sure you'd want to get this anyway because, you know, poisonous? Minecraft rabbits are pretty cute, right? I'm sorry, little buddy, I'm gonna have to kill you. Oh, I didn't get it. I'm after the rabbit's foot, which only has a 10% chance of dropping when you kill a rabbit. I'm sure you've all come across a few creepers in your Minecraft worlds, but have you ever come across a charged creeper? If the answer's yes, then you are very lucky, as a naturally generated charged creeper isn't easy to find, as a lightning strike needs to hit a regular creeper within 4 blocks. And since there's only a 1% chance of a thunderstorm occurring, you might be waiting a while. If you do come across a charged creeper and you're brave enough to have it follow you, now is the best chance of obtaining a rare mob head. This is because if a zombie, skeleton, creeper, wither skeleton, or piglin are blown up by a charged creeper, then you'll obtain their mob head. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, mossy cobblestone used to be one of the rarest blocks in the game. This was because in the beta days, mossy cobblestone was not craftable, and the only place you could find the block was within a dungeon. And because dungeons were hard to come across in beta, it made obtaining mossy cobblestone a bit of a challenge. We all know this sound. It's the most generic goat horn which you can get from any goat. However, there are 4 goat horn variants that you can only obtain from screaming goats, which are a variant of goat that only has a 2% chance to spawn. Conduits aren't an easy item to obtain, as the materials you need to craft them are quite rare. You need 8 Nautilus shells, which are rarely dropped by drowns, or you can do it the boring way by fishing, and then you need a heart of the sea, which you can only find through treasure chests, and as you know, they're quite hard to come by. If you're on your villain arc, then this is the horse you want in Minecraft. However, it is quite rare, as you need to come across a trap horse event which can only spawn during thunderstorms. Everyone loves a bit of diamond ore, especially when you find a large vein of it. Now the largest vein of diamond ore that you can find is 64 diamond ore. This only occurs when the corners of 8 different chunks generate with diamond ore, and the chances of this happening are, well, they're not great, as it's a 1 in 17 million chance. We've all been in a few thunderstorms in Minecraft, but have you ever actually been struck by lightning? Well, the chances of a player being struck by lightning is extremely rare, as there's only a 0.02% chance of this happening. To be honest, you're probably just better off using a lightning rod. Have you ever seen a snow golem spawn naturally? Well, you probably haven't, as this could only happen in older versions of the game, as carved pumpkins used to naturally generate, so if they happened to spawn on snow blocks or an enderman placed it down, then it would spawn a snow golem. This might be the rarest find in Minecraft ever. This is a quintuple pig spawner. This happens because a spider spawner generates while a chest attempts to generate inside the spawner, and then the code gets overwritten, which causes 5 pig spawners to generate around this chest. Did you get all that? Because I even confused myself, I can't lie. Have you ever seen another mob ride a strider? Well, if you've seen a baby strider riding a normal strider, then you're pretty lucky, as there's only a 1 in 10 chance of this happening. But if you think that is rare, then you haven't seen the 4 striders riding one another. This Reddit user found 4 striders on top of each other, and given there's a 1 in 10 chance of a baby strider riding one, that means there's a 1 in 40 chance of this happening. It also looks completely ridiculous, I can't lie. What's the rarest villager in Minecraft? Some might say it's the Fletcher, as they're the least common villager profession. However, the rarest villager in the entire game is the Swamp Villager, as a village has a very low chance of spawning inside of a swamp, making it possible to encounter them. You wouldn't think a cactus is particularly rare. Well, that's because they're not. However, a group of Minecrafters once sought out the challenge to find the tallest cactus in the game. They spent hours, days, weeks searching through lots of seeds, and they ended up finding a record-breaking 20 block tall cactus. Seriously, the chances of finding this is completely insane. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the 1.5 update, there was a bug in the game where Ghast would shoot diamond helmets at the player instead of their regular fireball. I mean, if a Ghast was shooting diamond helmets at me, I wouldn't complain. It's free diamonds after all. Well, sort of. The pumpkin stems on regular pumpkins will always face in the northwest direction of your Minecraft world, making them very useful for navigation. Have you ever wondered why there's this small room above the main part of a desert pyramid? Well, I'll tell you. So the second floor of the desert temple actually allows you to perfectly build a fully powered beacon, which is so satisfying. Whether this was done on purpose, I'm not sure, but the second floor is perfect for a beacon. The Piglin Brute mob drops the highest amount of experience points out of any non-boss mob in Minecraft, dropping a total of 20 experience. I mean, I should hope so. These guys are so annoying to kill. The bobbing animation that the Strider makes while walking was initially created by accident. However, the developers thought it was, quote, quirky and fun, so it was added as a feature. In Minecraft, there is currently a glitch in the game when it comes to shields. So if you hold up a shield while entering a nether portal, then something very strange will happen. So once you are in the nether, your shield will always be in use, even when you're not right clicking on it to hold it up, which is very useful. This is because you can still sprint and use your weapons while the shield is protecting you, so yeah, a very good glitch. If a fox attempts to pounce and kill a chicken in a snow biome, then the fox can get stuck in snow. You okay there, fox? It looks like you could do with a bit of help. A safe and effective way to get ender pearls from endermen is to trap them in a boat. This is because once the enderman is trapped in the boat, they cannot teleport away, which means you're just free to kill them for the ender pearls. I'm not gonna lie, I feel a bit bad. I'm sorry, enderman. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, slimes were not given the ability to swim, so whenever they entered the water, they would just slowly sink to the bottom and eventually drown, which made me very sad. But don't worry, in Minecraft today, slimes have had swimming lessons and they can swim around and attempt to kill you, which is just lovely. When the player places down an enchanting table and uses it for the first time, the first level 1 enchantment for a bow will always be power 1. In Minecraft Bedrock Edition, there is an exclusive feature in the game when it comes to campfires. So if the player stands on an unlit campfire while they're on fire, then the campfire will actually become lit, which is a nice attention to detail, to be honest. In Minecraft Java Edition, however, this feature is not a thing. This is the first ever screenshot released for wolves in Minecraft. As you can see, they have noticeable differences, such as having different fur color on the head part of the texture. Despite the netherite pickaxe being the strongest and most durable pickaxe in Minecraft, the gold pickaxe is still the pick that mines blocks the fastest. In Minecraft, it is actually possible to get out of the world border by using boats. Just simply place a boat next to the world border, get into the boat, and bam, you'll be outside the world border. Be careful though, because you might die. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the early versions of Minecraft in dev, the crafting table block was not yet added into the game. So did this mean players could not craft items at the time? Well, not exactly. So in dev, if you press the B key on your keyboard, you would open a 3x3 crafting interface as if you were using a regular crafting table. Additionally, when you opened your regular inventory at the time by pressing I, you'll notice that there's no 2x2 crafting grid to craft smaller items. So yeah, despite there being no physical crafting table in Minecraft in dev, you could still craft items by pressing B. So we all know that if you hit a zombified piglin, then things will get a little bit crazy, as all the other zombie piglins will become hostile towards you. And if you ask me, that's not fun at all, it's just very scary. However, if you manage to kill a zombified piglin in one hit, then the rest of them won't become aggro towards you, which is a very relieving feeling. Yeah, that's right, I bet you had no idea that I killed your mate just a few seconds ago. Anyways, let's just move on before he thinks I'm sus. If a creeper is inflicted with a potion effect and proceeds to explode, it will leave behind a lingering form of said potion, which in my case is poison. In Minecraft multiplayer, if your friend crouches by the ocean, then the water itself becomes see-through when you look through your friend's name tag, which is rather strange. Thanks for the help, Derpy Whale. I'm able to see underwater a lot easier. Wait, speaking of water, get back in the water, you're a whale. In Minecraft, you are able to create snow golems underwater, but it's a pretty pointless task as they'll just instantly start dying. I'm sorry mate, I had to do it for the purpose of the video, please forgive me. However, for some reason, you are not able to create iron golems underwater, even though the spawn concept is the same as a snow golem. What gives, man? I'm just staring at a pumpkin. This isn't what I want an iron golem to hold a poppy out for me. When the sign was first added into Minecraft in 2009, they could only be spawned in as entities, and this was done by pressing the B key on your keyboard. Once spawned in, they would always say, "This is a test of the signs, each line can be 15 characters. But yeah, these signs just look really weird as entities. As you know, if you have a dirt block on top of a chest, then you are not able to open it. However, if you use a hoe on the dirt, then you are in fact able to open the chest, as you can see. The reason why I'm talking so quietly right now is because I'm recording this fact at 4 in the morning. Anyways, moving on. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, before version 1.8, the chiseled stone brick was considered to be one of the rarest blocks in the game. This was due to the chiseled stone brick not having a crafting recipe and could only be found naturally generated in a jungle temple structure, which are also quite rare as well. If you look closely at the Hoglin's texture, you'll notice that it has one nostril bigger than the other. Looking good, Hoglin? Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't kill me! In Minecraft Bedrock Edition, the enchanting table, when placed, will emit a light level of 12. In Java Edition, however, they don't emit any light level, which is a bit lame. When the creeper was first added into Minecraft in 2009, their texture had a much darker shade of green, which looked like this. The only way to place any sort of water in the nether is by putting water in a cauldron. Not sure why or how this is possible, but fair enough. If you throw a trident with the loyalty enchantment while having a full inventory, then the trident will just follow the player around. Iron golems are not able to drown in water. You okay there, mate? I think he's fine. Putting an armor stand on top of a fence will cause the armor stand to float, which looks rather strange. When the endermite was first added into Minecraft in version 1.8, they used the exact same model as the silverfish mob, but was just a different color. The feature of players being able to crawl in one block gaps was actually created by accident. However, Mojang liked this accidental feature so much that they decided to keep crawling in the game. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft in beta 1.8, a bug existed in the game in creative mode. So for some reason, players were able to hit mobs with their sword from a very long distance away, which was just just a little bit weird. I mean, just look at this. How is this even possible? Grass paths are a great way to hide your items in Minecraft, as you can transport items into hoppers through the grass path due to them not being a full block. Brown mushrooms are unique as they will emit a light level of 1, whereas red mushrooms do not emit anything. If gravel falls onto soul sand, then the gravel will break. You can reduce a creeper's detection range by 50% if you are wearing a creeper head. I guess the creeper thinks you're one of them. Oh wait, never mind, he still wants to kill me. The crafting recipes for boats are the only recipes that can be unlocked in the recipe book without having any items. All you do is just simply jump into water. When Minecraft became 10 years old, all cakes in the game had a number 10 on it, which looks like this. Bats will still fly away from the player if they are under the invisibility effect. I mean, bats in real life have amazing hearing, so it makes sense. Gravel will drop flint 100% of the time if you use the Fortune 3 enchantment. In Minecraft, it takes 13 long, painful seconds for the player to fall through one cobweb, which is just... Could someone break this, please? Items in Minecraft are even more painful, as they take a long 24 seconds to fall through a single cobweb. Anytime now, I want my diamonds! When baby pandas sneeze in Minecraft, they have a 0.1% chance to drop a slime ball. In Minecraft, you are able to duplicate 2-block tall flowers by using bone meal. Just simply right-click on the tall flower with bone meal and bam, you can get an infinite amount of that flower. When end portals were first added into Minecraft, they originally looked like this, appearing blue with transparent patches. I'm not gonna lie, they look kinda cool. If the player generates a Minecraft world, then there is a 1 in 280 trillion chance of you generating that exact same world seed for a second time. So yeah, very rare, but still possible. There are exactly 233 bookshelves in a single library within a stronghold. This means the player can yield up to 699 books when they destroy every bookshelf within one library. In the 15W31A snapshot for the 1.9 combat update, the player could respawn the Ender Dragon by building a creeper face made out of clay. Now, this feature was of course a placeholder, but it's still really cool. If an iron golem is low on health, then you can heal them by right-clicking on them with an iron ingot. You feeling better now, mate? I love iron golems, man. The end gateway portal that generates after defeating the Ender Dragon are usually entered when you throw an Ender Pearl at it. However, an easier way to travel through the portal is to simply place a trapdoor on the bedrock and force yourself in the crawling position. Once you've done that, just crawl through and bam, you can find an end city. If you look closely at the corner rail texture, you'll notice that it closely resembles an iron pickaxe, which is quite cool actually. There are many different types of slabs in Minecraft, but the first slab ever created was the dirt slab, which looks like this. We never even got the dirt slab, so rest in peace. The bedrock texture in Minecraft is just the stone texture, but with a really high contrast. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, cats were instead obtained as a pet by taming an ocelot in a jungle biome. But then in version 1.14, stray cats became their own separate mob and spawn in villages. In the snapshot phase for the 1.9 combat update, a glitch existed when it came to boats. So if the player placed a boat on a slime block, waited a few seconds, then got into the boat, you would be launched up into the air. Also, the longer you waited to get into the boat, the higher you would be launched, which was so cool. This is the first ever screenshot for a Minecraft stronghold structure. As you can see, the stronghold looks rather different and has also generated on the surface, which is quite a change to the strongholds we have today. If you look closely at your hotbar in Minecraft, you'll notice that each slot is using the sand texture. I won't lie, this blew me away when I first noticed this. When the Killer Bunny was first added into Minecraft, it had a 1 in 2,500 chance to naturally spawn in your world. However, nowadays it's just an unused mob and you can only spawn it in using commands, which is a bit of a shame to be honest. If you smelt a wet sponge in a furnace, then put a bucket in the furnace, then the bucket will be filled with water when the sponge is finished smelting. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the alpha and beta days of the game, skeletons used to hold their bows like this, which looked really weird. Sheep are still able to eat grass through slabs. How on earth are you doing this, mate? The rarest biome in Minecraft is the modified jungle edge, which is an extremely rare variation of the jungle biome. This biome is so rare that it only covers a millionth or 0.0001% of the Minecraft overworld. As some of you know, when chests were first added into Minecraft, they were a full block looking like this. But did you guys also know that the old double chest had a black outline going down the middle, which looked like this? Double chests in Minecraft today do not have this black outline. The Elytra wings are actually a reference to the wing cap item Mario wears in Super Mario 64. Great game, by the way. When Endstone was first added into Minecraft, it used to drop cobblestone as a placeholder. Cats in Minecraft are slightly smaller than ocelots. In Minecraft Bedrock Edition, there is an exclusive feature where leaves will turn to a white frosty color when it is snowing. Okay, that is awesome. Why can't Java Edition have this feature, man? This is the first ever screenshot of spiders. They were originally brown and had black eyes, whereas in Minecraft today, they're black and have red eyes. The pig is the oldest existing passive mob in Minecraft. If a mob is holding a totem of undying, then it will actually work the same as it does for the player when they're about to die, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Fossils are one of the rarest generated structures in Minecraft, as they only have a 1 in 64 chance to generate per chunk. Pressing F3 and F4 on your keyboard allows you to switch between all the game modes in Minecraft. There is a 5% chance for a fox to spawn with an emerald in its mouth, which is quite a lucky find if you ask me. You are not able to see through clouds when you are below them, but you can see through them if you are above them. Very strange. I forgot to do one of the facts while making this video, so here I am doing it while half asleep. So item frames in Minecraft use the same texture as the birch planks texture. See? Okay, I'm going to bed now. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, pumpkins used to naturally spawn with their face already carved. In Minecraft today, they don't, and you instead have to carve your own pumpkin face with shears. If you go into game mode spectator mode, then left click on a painting, you can see your Minecraft world through the eyes of a, well, painting. Standing on soul sand next to lava will actually set the player on fire. Ow, this hurts quite a lot. The reason why creepers are their bright green color is because Minecraft creator Notch wanted them to blend in and be camouflaged with Minecraft's old world terrain, which at the time was a bright green color. Sandstone. We all know the block. It makes up most of a desert temple structure, and there's a cool sandstone block with a creeper face on it. So sandstone was added into Minecraft in version beta 1.2 in early 2011. But did you guys also know a mod for sandstone existed in the alpha phase of Minecraft in 2010? That's right, in alpha version 1.2.6, a player known as the Building Duck created a small little mod that simply added sandstone into Minecraft. Just like vanilla Minecraft, the sandstone from the mod was still crafted with 4 sand, and it used this texture right here, which looks drastically different to the sandstone we have today. Now Notch, the creator of Minecraft, liked the sandstone mod so much that he decided to add sandstone into vanilla Minecraft, but with a much different texture than the one from the mod. The ender chest is a type of chest that interconnects with other ender chests in your Minecraft world. This means the items you put in the ender chest can be accessed from any other ender chest in the world. Additionally, only you can see your items in the ender chest, whereas other players cannot, but I'm sure you guys already knew this. Anyways, before the ender chest was added in 2012, a mod used to exist called the Ender Storage mod. So this mod contains its very own ender chest, and it looks like this. So the ender chest from the Ender Storage mod functions the same as a normal ender chest in vanilla Minecraft, except both ender chests will open when you go go to place items in one of them, which is pretty cool to be honest. Another cool thing you can do is color code your ender chests if you only want specific ender chests to connect with each other. So for example, if I put a lapis dye on 2 ender chests but not the 3rd chest, then only the 2 chests with lapis will be connected with each other, which is really cool. But yeah, the ender chests we have in Minecraft today were heavily inspired by the ender chests from the Ender Storage mod. Horses are passive mobs that were added in the 1.6 update in 2013, and they can be tamed and ridden by the player when equipped with a saddle. They can also wear horse armor, which looks pretty cool. However, before horses were added into vanilla Minecraft, they existed and still do exist in the popular Minecraft mod, Mo Creatures. So the horses in the Mo Creatures mod look like this, looking very similar to the horses in Minecraft today, and this is no coincidence. So Dr. Zark, the creator of Mo Creatures, actually assisted Mojang in horses being added to vanilla, as the horses use the exact same model as the horses from the mod. Pistons are blocks in Minecraft that are used to push other blocks when given a redstone signal. So pistons were added in version beta 1.7 in 2011, and players have created all sorts of things using them, with one of the most popular being secret doorways. However, before pistons were added in beta 1.7, they used to exist within a mod that was simply called the Piston mod. Now, the Piston mod's pistons looked and behaved differently to the vanilla Minecraft's pistons, as these pistons could be used to launch players all over the world, as well as being able to launch blocks. As you can imagine, this allowed players to create all sorts of contraptions, such as making a TNT cannon to launch TNT at your friend's house, which I'm sure they didn't appreciate. Now, Mojang were inspired by the Piston mod so much that they used most of the mod's code to add to their own version of the piston into vanilla Minecraft. The recipe book is a mechanic in Minecraft that assists the player when crafting items, and this feature was added in version 1.12 in 2017. So the recipe book can show all the crafting recipes for items you've collected in your inventory, which means, for example, if you have wood, the recipe book will show all the crafting recipes for wood related items. But did you guys know in the beta days of Minecraft in 2011, a recipe book mod was created? However, this recipe book existed in the form of an item, and it was crafted with 1 book and 1 ink sac. Now, the recipe book from the mod was slightly more overpowered, as instead of you having to unlock the recipes as you played, you simply just had access to every single crafting recipe that was available at the time. But yeah, it's possible that Mojang took inspiration from the recipe book mod, as it's quite a useful feature to help players that are newer to the game or just want to craft things a bit quicker. Smooth lighting is a lighting engine in vanilla Minecraft that the player can toggle on and off. The purpose of smooth lighting is to smoothly blend light levels and shadows across each block to give the game a semi-realistic feel. However, back in the earlier days of Minecraft, smooth lighting didn't exist, so lighting across each block looked a bit rough. So before smooth lighting was added into vanilla Minecraft, a mod known as the Better Light mod existed, and it pretty much did the same thing as smooth lighting, and this was no coincidence. So the creator of the Better Light mod is known as Mr. Messiah, and he assisted Mojang in adding smooth lighting in the beta 1.3 update in 2011. This was done by Mr. Messiah providing his code from the Better Light mod and giving it to the Mojang employees to add into vanilla, and as a thank you, Mojang gave Mr. Messiah a unique cape which looks like this. Parrots are rare tameable mobs that can be found in jungle biomes, and they were added in version 1.12 in June 2017. Parrots are tamed with wheat seeds, and the player can make the parrots sit down and sit on the player's shoulders. But best of all, the parrots can dance to jukeboxes, which is one of the best features ever added to Minecraft. However, did you guys also know that parrots used to exist within a Minecraft mod called the Exotic Birds mod? So this mod was created in roughly 2012, and this mod of course contained parrots, and they looked like this. Now, just like vanilla Minecraft, these parrots spawn in jungle biomes and can also be tamed by the player, but by using pumpkin seeds instead. You can also right click on a parrot to make it sit down, follow the player by flying, and follow the player by walking. In vanilla Minecraft, if parrots aren't in sitting mode, they'll always follow the player by flying or by teleporting to them. Another similarity between the mod and vanilla with the parrots are the textures. So the mod has a red and yellow parrot, vanilla has a red and yellow parrot. The mod has a blue and yellow parrot, vanilla has a blue and yellow parrot. So yeah, it's safe to say that Mojang might have taken a bit of inspiration from the parrots in the exotic birds mod. The armor stand is an entity in Minecraft that is used to hold and display wearable items such as armor, mob heads, and pumpkins. Armor stands were added in version 1.8 and are crafted with 6 sticks and 1 smooth stone slab. However, prior to 1.8, armor stands originally existed from a mod known as the Bibliocraft mod. In said mod, the armor stands looked like this and were instead crafted with 2 iron ingots and 3 smooth stone slabs. Armor stands in the mod also used an interface to display the armor, whereas in vanilla Minecraft you just right click on the armor stand and bam, your cool looking armor is displayed. But yeah, which armor stands do you prefer? The modded ones or the vanilla ones? Let me know in the comments below. The hopper is a block in Minecraft that is primarily used to transfer items. For example, you can cook food in a furnace and have it transfer the cooked food into a hopper and then have it move into a chest. Very cool. Now the hopper was added into vanilla Minecraft in version 1.5 in March 2013, but the hopper originally came from a Minecraft mod known as the Buildcraft mod. So the hopper from said mod looked like this and it functioned exactly the same as the vanilla hopper, except items transferred faster and there were only 4 item slots instead of the familiar 5 item slots. Now the hopper from Buildcraft was created around August 2012, which was almost a year before hoppers were officially added into vanilla Minecraft in 2013. But yeah, once the hopper was officially added into vanilla Minecraft, the creators of Buildcraft renamed their version of the hopper to a chute to avoid confusion with the normal vanilla hopper. When end portals were first added into Minecraft, they originally looked like this, appearing blue with transparent patches. I'm not gonna lie, they look kinda cool. If the player generates a Minecraft world, then there is a 1 in 280 trillion chance of you generating that exact same world seed for a second time. So yeah, very rare, but still possible. There are exactly 233 bookshelves in a single library within a stronghold. This means the player can yield up to 699 books when they destroy every bookshelf within one library. In the 15W31A snapshot for the 1.9 combat update, the player could respawn the Ender Dragon by building a creeper face made out of clay. Now this feature was of course a placeholder, but it's still really cool. If an iron golem is low on health, then you can heal them by right clicking on them with an iron ingot. You feeling better now, mate? I love iron golems, man. The end gateway portal that generates after defeating the Ender Dragon are usually entered when you throw an Ender Pearl at it. However, an easier way to travel through the portal is to simply place a trapdoor on the bedrock and force yourself in the crawling position. Once you've done that, just crawl through and bam, you can find an end city. If you look closely at the corner rail texture, you'll notice that it closely resembles an iron pickaxe, which is quite cool actually. There are many different types of slabs in Minecraft, but the first slab ever created was the dirt slab, which looks like this. We never even got the dirt slab, so rest in peace. The bedrock texture in Minecraft is just the stone texture, but with a really high contrast. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, cats were instead obtained as a pet by taming an ocelot in a jungle biome. But then in version 1.14, stray cats became their own separate mob and spawn in villages. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the early versions of Minecraft in dev, items used to stack up to 99 instead of stacking up to 64 like they do today. When TNT was first added into Minecraft, you could activate it by just simply punching it. On April Fool's Day, on April 1st, 2014, every player had their Minecraft skin replaced by a villager skin, as you can see, which looked really funny. Unlike tiny slimes, tiny magma cubes can actually deal damage to you, as you can see. If a cauldron is left outside while it's raining, then it will actually slowly fill up with water, as you can see. Destroying obsidian with only your fist takes 4 minutes and 10 seconds to do, and unfortunately I had to do this for the sake of the video, and I wish I didn't. Back in the beta days of Minecraft, a message reading Minecraft beta unlicensed copy with a sad face could be seen if someone was to play Minecraft without purchasing the game. In the beta days of Minecraft, ladders had a 1 block gap between them and you could still climb them. When the creeper was first added in the Minecraft survival test, they actually had a melee attack and dealt 2 hearts of damage to the player. If the player was to travel or teleport 30 million blocks from the spawn point, then they will actually reach a world border, as you can see. When tropical fish spawn in Minecraft, 90% of the time they will appear as one of the 22 varieties that are seen on screen. Whereas the other 10% of tropical fish that spawn, their pattern, size and colours are completely random, resulting in 2,700 different naturally occurring combinations of tropical fish. In the beta 1.8 demo at the PAX gaming event, when the Enderman was first added, they actually dropped diamonds as a placeholder upon death instead of ender pearls. You are able to make a really weird looking staircase by using fences and carpets. This is weird. You can kill a blaze with a snowball. I guess they just don't like snowball fights. The most amount of blocks you can fall from before dying on any difficulty is 23 blocks. So if you fall from 24 blocks, you're gonna die. Another weird feature about creepers in the survival test version of Minecraft is that they would actually explode after the player killed them, rather than the creeper exploding on the player as a method of attacking you. You can create a weird looking staircase by using cake slicers. When Endermen were first added, they originally had green eyes and emitted black smoke particles, whereas today they have purple eyes and emit purple particles. Gunpowder used to be called sulfur. When spiders were first being created in Minecraft, they were originally brown. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, the Ghast's fireball actually used to be a snowball that was on fire. There used to be a bug in Minecraft where if you shot yourself with an arrow, your tamed wolves would actually turn on you and begin to attack and kill you. Monoliths were glitched areas of terrain that could be found in Minecraft Alpha, which resembled chunk errors, and they looked like this. Before beta 1.8, cacti appeared to be somewhat larger than other blocks when dropped on the floor. I mean, just look at this cacti, it's absolutely huge! In the survival test version of Minecraft, players were able to cancel the detonation of TNT by hitting it for the second time, as they'll get the item back rather than the TNT exploding. At some point in Minecraft's development, there was a bug in the game where wooden slabs could only be destroyed with a pickaxe instead of an axe, which was a bit weird. If you exit your Minecraft world when holding an item like a diamond, for example, and then create a new Minecraft world, you will actually see a diamond in your hand for a split second before returning to having nothing. If a red fox happens to spawn in a snowy taiga biome, then it will instead be a snowy fox, which looks like this. On top of that, if a red fox is bred with a snowy fox, then the baby has a 50% chance of either being a red fox or a snowy fox. The chicken was added into Minecraft in the alpha phase of the game, and the mechanics for pushing a chicken off the edge of a cliff was slightly different back then. So we all know that in Minecraft today, that pushing a chicken off an edge will cause the chicken to flap their wings down to safety. However, in Minecraft Alpha, the chicken would still flap their wings to the ground, but it wasn't really safe, as regardless of how soft their fall was, they would still take damage and die. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, when the snow golem was first added into Minecraft in beta 1.9, there was a bug in the game where the snow golem would throw snowballs at the player if the player was holding wheat in their hand. What do snow golems have against wheat? I just want to make some bread. What's going on? Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the early stages of Minecraft Alpha, there was a really unique feature in the game which was known as Winter Mode. Now, Winter Mode was one of the two randomly occurring world types, with the other being a normal world type. So, upon creating a Winter Mode world type, the player would be greeted with 4 different types of snowflakes that would fall to the ground, creating a snow layer on any block exposed to the sky. In other words, your Minecraft world would be snowing 24/7. Now, there was a 25% chance for the player to get a Winter Mode world when creating a new world, and a 75% chance to get a normal type world. However, in a later version of Minecraft Alpha, biomes were added into the game, which meant the Winter Mode world type was removed, and you would instead have to find a biome with a snowy environment. Before the Snow Golem mob was added into Minecraft in version beta 1.9, Notch, the creator of Minecraft, originally planned to call the Snow Golem a snowman. We know this as in the story of Mojang documentary, Notch mentioned that he wanted to add snowmen that threw snowballs. Take a listen.
Another thing, a suggestion is to make a scarecrow, because it would be so fun, because you have like a pumpkin here,
Yeah.
and then some cloth, and then some sticks. It would look very cute.
And we should have snowmen as well that throw snowballs.
However, after Notch revealed that he would add snowmen into Minecraft, a Reddit user stated he would instead call the mob Snow Golems, which later became the official name for the mob. If you look very closely, you will notice that the brewing stand, when placed, will emit a barely visible light level of 1. That's right guys, brewing stands provide you with light. Well, not really to be honest, because I still can't see a thing. Throwing a splash potion of any kind on top of your head is more efficient than throwing the potion at your feet, as the status effect from the potion will last slightly longer, as you can see. During the Halloween event between October 20th and the 3rd of November, bats can spawn at a light level of 6 or less instead of the usual 3 or less. So during Halloween, you will see a lot more bats, which is very spooky. The Halloween event doesn't just increase the quantity of bats, it also increases the chances of encountering hostile mobs during the day. This is because mobs such as zombies, zombie villagers, skeletons, and strays will sometimes spawn with pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns on their head. This makes playing Minecraft during Halloween a lot more dangerous, as the pumpkins will prevent the mobs from burning during the day. With that said, it is an extra way to gather pumpkins, as any of these mobs killed with a looting sword have a chance to drop these pumpkins upon death. Minecraft splashes are always full of secret messages and hidden details, and the Halloween event is no different, as on Halloween itself, the only splash that will appear will say, "Ooh, spooky." Okay, I don't know if that was scary or just cringe. Probably a bit of both, to be honest. I don't know about you, but I always like Minecraft from December 24th to the 26th. It just feels very Christmassy. That's right, during Christmas time, chests and double chests are wrapped up to resemble Christmas presents. I just hope you don't find a lump of coal in your chest. Remember that spooky splash text that only shows on Halloween? Well, during Christmas Day, the only splash that shows is Merry Xmas, which is a bit nicer and doesn't give me the chills. In Minecraft, there is a secret banner pattern that displays the old Mojang logo. To create this banner design, it's pretty expensive, as it requires an enchanted golden apple. What's interesting is when you create this banner design, it's labeled as the Thing banner pattern. It's called this because the direct translation of Mojang means gadget or thing. The Nether contains a variety of creepy biomes, with each biome containing their own disturbing ambient sounds. But one biome that stands out in particular in the Nether is the Crimson Forest. This is because the ambient sounds used within the Crimson Forest biome were actually created by using balloons. Wow, I never thought they could make balloons sound so creepy. Guys, I have something to reveal to you. I'm a unicorn. That's right, there's a command in Minecraft that lets you wear certain items on your head, so you can become a unicorn, chew your favorite bone, or even have some wooden glasses. Is this fence gate going to give me a splinter? It better not. The Killer Bunny is a strange mob in Minecraft. When the Killer Bunny was first added, it had a 1 in 2,500 chance to spawn naturally in your world. The Killer Rabbit was completely hostile, dealing 4 hearts of damage to the player. In a later version, the Killer Rabbit was removed and became an unused mob, and now you can only spawn it in using commands. The reason for the Killer Bunny's removal was because Jeb said it had been referenced in too many games and was pretty much a random death event that didn't belong in Minecraft. This confirms that the Killer Rabbit was only added to Minecraft as a joke and not a serious mob that belonged in the game. I mean, after all, the Killer Bunny is a reference to the Rabbit of Kerbanog from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I think the Killer Bunny should have stayed personally. It would have been pretty funny to die to a rabbit. Minecraft developers love to leave their signatures in the strangest of places. For example, you can find the word Surge in an unused area of the armor stand texture, which is to give credit to the original creator of armor stands, who is Surge. In Minecraft, there is a cool Easter egg to do with evokers and sheep. So if an evoker sees a blue sheep, it will turn it into a red sheep while uttering the phrase Woolaloo. That was hard to say without laughing, I can't lie. Now, this evoker Easter egg is a direct reference to the priest unit from Age of Empires 2, where they would utter the phrase Woolaloo while converting their enemy units to their side while simultaneously changing their colour. Minecraft doesn't just have Easter eggs from Age of Empires, there's also a reference with Mario 64. That's right, the behaviour of the Elytra item in Minecraft is actually a direct reference to the wing cap item that Mario uses in Mario 64. This Minecraft cake is a lie, or at least that's what it used to be. So back in the earlier days of Minecraft, when crafting a cake, you could obtain an achievement that was simply called The Lie. Now, this cake achievement is a direct reference to the cake is a lie catchphrase from the popular video game Portal. Have you ever tried to name a Vindicator Johnny? Well, if you haven't, then don't bother, because they become extremely aggressive and will attack any mob and player within sight. The only exceptions are Illagers and Ghasts. They don't care about them. This name tag Easter egg is a reference to the movie The Shining, with the infamous quote, "Here's Johnny, here's Anthony, subscribe." There is a secret rabbit in Minecraft, and no, I'm not talking about the Killer Bunny. So if you rename any rabbit in your world Toast, then its texture will completely change to this. This texture is a reference to user XYZen420, who asked Ryan Holtz, the creator of rabbits, to make this skin look like his girlfriend's lost rabbit. This Easter egg served as a nice little memorial for Toast. Next time you're looking at an end crystal, pay close attention to the symbols. At first glance, it just looks like gibberish, but when you take the textures and put them in the correct order, it almost appears as if it's spelling out Mojang. Okay, this one's actually really cool. There's so much detail in this game, man. Minecraft developers aren't the only ones that like to leave their little signatures in the game. That's right, the Ghast mob doesn't have a secret signature with its texture, but with the sound it makes. This is because the sounds Ghast make are taken from C418's cat, who is the composer of Minecraft's original soundtrack. So we all know that the cave sounds in Minecraft are some of the creepiest ambient sounds that are found in the game. But one cave sound that stands out as sounding absolutely terrifying is Cave Sound 14. What makes this cave sound even creepier is if it's ran through a spectrogram, a creeper face will appear. There's no other way to describe this image other than creepy. Do single coloured sheep bore you? Well, if they do, try renaming them to Jeb_. This name tag Easter egg will cause the sheep to become a rainbow sheep. There's no point shearing its wool though, because you won't get a rainbow wool, I promise you. Another name tag Easter egg you can do is if you name a mob Dinnerbone, it flips them upside down. This can also work if you name the mob Grum. Now I know that Easter egg is known by 99% of you, but I bet you don't know this next one. In May 2019, Minecraft turned 10 years old, and to mark this special occasion, the Minecraft cake had a big number 10 on it. This number 10 cake was only available in-game for about 3 days until it was reverted to the original shortly after. Another little Easter egg: when Minecraft turned 10 years old, the only splash that would appear on the title screen said turning 10 years old. In Minecraft, a player by the name of Billy K was given a turtle cape after suggesting the idea for turtles. What's interesting about the turtle cape is if you look on the underside of the texture, you can see the turtle's belly even though it can't be viewed in-game. Mojang didn't have to go to those details with the cape, but they did it anyway. When you load up Minecraft, you'll always be greeted with the title screen and the iconic Minecraft logo. But did you know there is actually a 1 in 10,000 chance for the Minecraft logo to say Minecraft instead of Minecraft? I bet every one of you watching this video has had the Minecraft Easter egg at least once but not even noticed it. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the console edition version of the game, there was a really cool Easter egg in one of the tutorial worlds. So on the TU19 tutorial world, there was an island northeast side of the world that had a remake of Stampy's house from Stampy's Lovely World. Let me know in the comments if you used to watch Stampy. He was a lot of people's childhood YouTuber. Prior to the 1.14 texture update in Minecraft, the Guardian and Elder Guardian had a hidden signature in an unused area of its texture. These signatures simply said Jeb, who is the creator of these textures. Minecraft used to have a special splash text that would only display on June 1st. This splash would simply say Happy Birthday Notch, who was the creator of Minecraft. However, this splash was later removed in version 1.8 due to Notch leaving Mojang in 2014. Another Easter egg related to Notch was all to do with his Minecraft account. So back in the earlier days of Minecraft, when the Minecraft account Notch died in-game, it would actually drop an additional apple upon death along with its regular loot. I guess Notch just really enjoyed apples. Did you ever feel Minecraft and Terraria were connected? Well, in some way, they are. According to Minecraft developer Jeb, bosses in Terraria were a direct inspiration for the Wither. This is because Jeb really liked the idea that you could summon a boss yourself in Terraria, and thus added this feature for the Wither boss in Minecraft. Another way in which Minecraft references Terraria is via a splash text. The splash will simply say, also try Terraria. But it doesn't end there, as in Terraria it can say, also try Minecraft when you play it in windowed mode. This really does show the mutual respect between the two games. Before advancements existed, Minecraft would use achievements. These were very similar to advancements, and whenever you completed one, it would say achievement get. Now to many, this probably made no sense, but it was actually a reference to Mario collecting a shine in the Japanese version of Super Mario Sunshine, where it would say shine get. I guess Notch was a Mario fan. Within the text folders of Minecraft, there is a file named splashes.txt, which contains all the splash text that appear on the title screen of Minecraft. However, there is one splash within the text file that will never appear on the title screen, and it simply says this message will never appear on the splash screen. Isn't that weird? Alright Mojang, you got us. It's definitely weird, okay? In older versions of Minecraft, did you ever accidentally delete the splash.txt file without deleting the meta.inf folder? Well, if you did, then you might have come across the splash text that said missing no on the title screen. Now, if you saw this, your game wasn't broken, as it was actually a direct reference to the infamous glitched Pokemon that was called Missing No. The next time you encounter some bedrock in Minecraft, be sure to pay close attention to the texture. Not really sure why you'd be doing this, but if you look close enough at the bedrock texture, you can actually see a wither face on it. Okay, there is no way Minecraft didn't do this on purpose. Extinguished campfires are great for building bridges or other little build hacks, but these unlit campfires also have a secret hidden beneath them, as if you look close enough you can actually see the face of a cat. Should I be scared looking at this? I'm not sure, to be honest. Does this painting look familiar to you? I mean, I could be wrong, but it sort of looks like Donkey Kong. That's right, this painting is a reference to the Donkey Kong arcade game from 1981. to spawn with a bow in their left hand, whereas 95% of the time it spawns in their right hand. When the axe was first added into Minecraft in version in-dev in 2009, the axe's texture used to be double-sided, looking like this. However, this didn't last too long, and the axe's texture quickly changed to only have one side, which is how it looks today. The only seed number Minecraft doesn't let you use in the seed generator is the number 0. Trying to generate a seed using the number 0 will just generate a random number seed, whereas if I use the number 1 seed, for example, it generates a world using the seed number 1. Very interesting. During the development for the 1.9 combat update, an item called the Quiver was planned to be added, and it looked like this. Now, the Quiver was intended to be used as an easier way to hold your arrows in Minecraft, but this idea was abandoned. When villagers were first added in the Minecraft Beta 1.9 update in 2011, a strange file could be found in the game files. Now, that file was this weird Steve and villager hybrid looking skin which looked like this. Now, I'm going to assume Mojang maybe used the Steve skin as a preset to design the villager mod, but let's just move on because the villager Steve looks really creepy and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Moving on. So we all know that when an animal dies to fire, it drops its cooked variant of the food. However, when an animal dies to a campfire, it drops the raw variant of the food, which is rather strange to be honest. The crawling feature in Minecraft uses the exact same animation as the swimming animation, and both look awesome. The Unbreaking 3 book appears in both the Tools tab and the Weapons tab in the Creative inventory. The music disc 11 will play for exactly 1 minute and 11 seconds. In version 1.14.4, there was a glitch with boats where each jump you made on top of a boat, fall damage was added for when you walked on land. So for example, if I jump 4 times on top of the boat and then walk on land, I will take 2 hearts of damage. So yeah, with this glitch you could essentially kill you or your friend by jumping on boats. The default color for a tamed wolf is red. However, in version 1.8, the default color for a tamed wolf was changed to orange for some reason. Trying to generate a seed using the number 0 will just give you a random seed number. This means that getting the number 0 seed is impossible, right? Well, actually, no. So if you generate a world using the following seed, then type /seed within the world, you'll notice that the seed number is in fact 0, which shows that it is possible to get the 0 seed. When the Killer Bunny was first added into Minecraft, it had a 1 in 2,500 chance to naturally spawn in your world. However, nowadays it's just an unused mob and you can only spawn it in using commands, which is a bit of a shame to be honest. If you smelt a wet sponge in a furnace, then put a bucket in the furnace, then the bucket will be filled with water when the sponge is finished smelting. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the alpha and beta days of the game, skeletons used to hold their bows like this, which looked really, really weird. Sheep are still able to eat grass through slabs. How on earth are you doing this, mate? The rarest biome in Minecraft is the modified jungle edge, which is an extremely rare variation of the jungle biome. This biome is so rare that it only covers a millionth or 0.0001% of the Minecraft overworld. As some of you know, when chests were first added into Minecraft, they were a full block looking like this. But did you guys also know that the old double chest had a black outline going down the middle, which looked like this? Double chests in Minecraft today do not have this black outline. The elytra wings are actually a reference to the wing cap item Mario wears in Super Mario 64. Great game, by the way. When endstone was first added into Minecraft, it used to drop cobblestone as a placeholder. Cats in Minecraft are slightly smaller than ocelots. In Minecraft Bedrock Edition, there is an exclusive feature where leaves will turn to a white frosty color when it is snowing. Okay, that is awesome. Why can't Java Edition have this feature, man? This is the first ever screenshot of spiders. They were originally brown and had black eyes, whereas in Minecraft today, they're black and have red eyes. The pig is the oldest existing passive mob in Minecraft. If a mob is holding a totem of undying, then it will actually work the same as it does for the player when they're about to die, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Fossils are one of the rarest generated structures in Minecraft, as they only have a 1 in 64 chance to generate per chunk. Pressing F3 and F4 on your keyboard allows you to switch between all the game modes in Minecraft. There is a 5% chance for a fox to spawn with an emerald in its mouth, which is quite a lucky find if you ask me. You are not able to see through clouds when you are below them, but you can see through them if you are above them. Very strange. I forgot to do one of the facts while making this video, so here I am doing it while half asleep. So item frames in Minecraft use the same texture as the birch planks texture. See? Okay, I'm going to bed now. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, pumpkins used to naturally spawn with their face already carved. In Minecraft today, they don't, and you instead have to carve your own pumpkin face with shears. If you go into game mode spectator mode, then left click on a painting, you can see your Minecraft world through the eyes of a, well, painting. Standing on soul sand next to lava will actually set the player on fire. Ow, this hurts quite a lot. The reason why creepers are their bright green color is because Minecraft creator Notch wanted them to blend in and be camouflaged with Minecraft's old world terrain, which at the time was a bright green color. And finally on our list, the Ravager uses the same sounds as a villager, but they're more low and grumpy. Cheer up, mate. Wait, don't kill me! Fences are blocks in Minecraft that all of you have probably used at least once. Now, fences were added in Minecraft Alpha in 2010 and are currently crafted with 4 wooden planks and 2 sticks. But did you guys know from Alpha to Release 1.7, the fence was originally crafted with 6 sticks, which was a little bit more simple. It wasn't until version 1.8 in 2014 where the fence recipe was changed to the one we have today. Which fence recipe do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. The anvil is a block that allows players to repair items, rename items, and add enchantments to items. Anyways, anvils were added in version 1.4 in 2012 and are currently crafted with 3 iron blocks and 4 iron ingots. However, when the anvil was first added, it was crafted with 6 iron blocks and 1 iron ingot, so it was a lot more expensive on iron, so I'm kinda glad they changed it. Arrows. We see them at least once in our Minecraft world, whether it's killing creepers with a bow or being killed by an aimbot skeleton. Now, the arrow was added in the Minecraft survival test in 2009 and is currently crafted with 1 feather, 1 stick, and 1 flint. However, back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the in-dev phase of the game, arrows were instead crafted with 1 feather, 1 stick, and 1 iron ingot. It wasn't until Minecraft Alpha where the arrows crafting recipe was changed to the one we have today. Netherite tools and weapons were added in the 1.16 Nether update and they're created slightly differently. So if I want to make a netherite pickaxe, I need to upgrade my diamond pick by combining it with a netherite ingot in a smithing table. However, did you guys know that netherite tools used to be crafted normally? So in the snapshots for the Nether update, you could simply craft a netherite sword, for example, by using a diamond sword and a netherite ingot in the crafting grid. That's right, no smithing table required here. But yeah, in a later snapshot, all crafting recipes for netherite tools were removed to give the smithing table a functionality. The enchanted golden apple is a rare, uncraftable variant of the golden apple that can only be found in generated structures such as desert temples, ruined portal chests, and much more. However, before the 1.9 combat update, this overpowered golden apple could be crafted with 8 gold blocks and 1 apple. But when 1.9 was released, Mojang was like, nope, this thing's way too overpowered, and removed its crafting recipe. Sorry everyone. Paintings. There's many cool designs that come in lots of different sizes, but my favourite is the creeper face one. What's yours? Now, the painting was added in Minecraft in-dev in early 2010 and is currently crafted with 8 sticks and 1 wool. However, when the painting was first added, it was instead crafted with 8 wooden planks and 1 wool. Which crafting recipe makes more sense to you? Let me know in the comments below. The shield is a very useful item used to deflect skeleton arrows and absorb creeper explosions. Now the shield is crafted by using 5 wooden planks and 1 iron ingot, but it did used to have a different crafting recipe. So in the 1.9 snapshots, shields were instead crafted by using 3 wool, 3 planks and 1 iron ingot, so the recipe was quite different. Leather armor is the weakest armor in Minecraft, and it is crafted with, well, leather. Now leather armor was added in Minecraft InDev in early 2010, but it was originally known as wool armor. This meant you had to kill sheep for wool, as wool armor was crafted with, well, wool. I can't believe this, I'm crafting a chestplate by using wool. This is a bit weird. However, when Minecraft Alpha was released, cows and leather were added into the game, and wool armor was renamed to leather armor, and it was instead crafted with leather, and that's how it remains today. Just like the tools, netherite armor was also added in the nether update. And once again, just like the tools, netherite armor is created when you upgrade your diamond armor in a smithing table. Now you guessed it, netherite armor in the 1.16 snapshots were instead craftable by using diamond armor and a netherite ingot. Don't mind me just crafting a netherite chestplate in a crafting table like you do. But yeah, in a later snapshot, this role was given to the smithing table. Anyways, moving on. The enchanting table is a block that allows players to spend their XP to enchant tools, weapons, books, and armor. Now the enchanting table is crafted by using 4 obsidian, 2 diamonds, and 1 book, but it hasn't always been crafted like this. So when the enchanting table was first being developed, it looked like this and was instead crafted with 4 cobblestone, 2 diamonds, and 1 book, so it was a lot less expensive. The regular golden apple has had multiple different crafting recipes. So currently in Minecraft today, the golden apple is crafted with 8 gold ingots and 1 apple. However, when the golden apple was first added in Minecraft InfDev, it was crafted with 8 gold blocks and 1 apple. But then in version 1.1, the golden apple's crafting recipe was changed to be crafted with 8 gold nuggets and 1 apple, which made them very easy to craft. Then finally, in version 1.6.1, the golden apple's recipe was changed to be crafted with 8 gold ingots and 1 apple, and that's how the recipe remains today. Books are primarily used for enchanting and crafting the enchanting table. Now, books are simply crafted with 3 paper and 1 leather. However, from Minecraft Alpha to Release 1.2, books were instead crafted by using 3 paper in a single column like so. But then in Release 1.3, the crafting recipe was changed to how it is today, so you know, you have to hunt down those cows. Sorry, cows. Horse armor is a special type of armor that can be given to horses, and the armor comes in leather, iron, gold, and diamond. We need a netherite horse armor, Mojang, please. Anyways, horse armor is uncraftable and can only be found in generated structures such as desert temples, for example. With that said, when horse armor was being developed in the 1.6 snapshots, they did in fact used to be craftable. So to craft diamond horse armor, for example, you would need 6 diamonds and 1 wool, and bam, you would get diamond horse armor. But yeah, when the 1.6 update was released, the horse armor crafting recipe was removed from the game. The armor stand is an entity that is used to display wearable items such as armor, mob heads, and pumpkins. Now the armor stand is crafted with 6 sticks and 1 smooth stone slab. However, when the armor stand was first being developed in the 1.8 update, it was only crafted with 6 sticks, as you can see on screen. Glowstone is a very old school light source block that generates in the nether, and it was added in Minecraft Alpha in 2010. So glowstone in Minecraft today is crafted with 4 glowstone dust. However, from Alpha 1.2 to Beta 1.5, glowstone was instead crafted with 9 glowstone dust, so it was slightly more expensive. The ender chest is a chest in Minecraft that prevents your quote-unquote friends from stealing your items, as only you can see the items that you put in the ender chest. Now the ender chest is crafted with 8 obsidian and 1 eye of ender, but it was not always planned to be crafted like this. So when ender chests were first suggested to be added into Minecraft on Reddit, they were suggested to be crafted with 8 wooden planks and 1 ender pearl. But yeah, when Minecraft developer Jeb added ender chests into Minecraft, he altered the crafting recipe to use the recipe we have today. Nether brick fences were added into Minecraft in version beta 1.9 in 2011. Now currently, nether brick fences are crafted with 4 nether brick blocks and 2 nether bricks. However, from beta 1.9 all the way up to the 1.13 aquatic update, nether brick fences were instead crafted with 6 nether brick blocks. Now when the 1.14 update was released, it introduced nether brick walls, which resulted in them using the old recipe that the nether brick fences had. Hoppers are blocks that are primarily used to transfer items. Now the hopper is crafted with 1 chest and 5 iron ingots, but it hasn't always been crafted like this. So in the snapshots for version 1.5, hoppers were instead crafted with 1 chest and 5 stone. So I guess the hoppers went from being made of stone to iron, which is fair enough I guess. Chain armor. Now this is the one I always find very interesting. So chainmail armor has been in Minecraft since the survival test version in 2009, and since its addition it has never had a crafting recipe. Or has it? So from Minecraft Alpha to release 1.7, the player was able to spawn in fire as an item, and if you put the fire in the crafting grid, you'll notice that it crafts chainmail armor. The fact that I can make a chain chestplate out of fire is just mind-blowing. However, due to fire not ever being able to be legitimately obtained in survival Minecraft, you've never been able to craft it in a normal playthrough. Things only got worse in the 1.8 update as fire was removed as an item, which meant players could no longer spawn it in to craft chainmail armor. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, the netherite items actually had much different textures. That's right, in early versions of the Nether update, the netherite tools and armor had a diamond-like appearance to their texture. These old textures were likely a placeholder, which means we now have the netherite items we have today. The image you see on screen is the first ever known screenshot of the Enderman in its early development back in 2011. Now I have to say, when you zoom in on this early Enderman, it definitely looks a lot more ominous and creepy. So we all know in Minecraft today, Endermen will teleport away if they come into contact with water. However, back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the beta days of the game, Endermen did not attempt to teleport away from water and would instead just die. This meant players, when exploring their world in beta, would find numerous ender pearls in different bodies of water. It was quite sad when you think about it, because every time you'd find an ender pearl in water, you just knew an enderman had died there. So we all know in Minecraft, you can fall from any height in a boat and you won't take any fall damage. However, a bug used to exist in the game where your boat would get destroyed and you would die if you fell from specific heights in the boat. For example, if you fell from 49 blocks tall in a boat, then the fall damage would not be negated and your boat would just get destroyed and you would of course die. But if you fell from, say, 50 blocks in a boat, then nothing would actually happen and it would behave as usual. You could also die if you fell from 111 blocks, 198 blocks, or 310 blocks. So yeah, it was definitely a very weird and specific bug with boats. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, a bug existed in the game that allowed you to place water in the nether. So in beta 1.9 pre-release 4, breaking ice in the nether would turn it into flowing water, which was of course not supposed to happen. It's definitely strange seeing water within the nether. In Minecraft, if it is raining in your world, then you are able to sleep in a bed 26 seconds earlier when it turns to nighttime. This is because the light level is less when it is raining, so when it begins to turn nighttime, mobs can spawn even sooner. So as a result, you are able to get a good night's sleep slightly earlier while listening to the rain. Hitting a shulker with an invisibility potion will make its shulker shell invisible, but not the shulker's head. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this looks so creepy. During the snapshot phase for the 1.14 Village and Pillage update, the pillagers themselves were actually able to open doors. Why this was removed, I'll never know, as it made evokers and pillagers a lot more threatening during a raid. When tree leaves decay in Minecraft, each tree type has a 5% chance to drop their sapling. However, this is not the case with jungle leaves, as jungle saplings have a 2.5% chance to drop from their leaves. In Minecraft, there is a really good trick to get infinite music discs in your world. So we all know creepers drop a music disc if they're killed by a skeleton, but there's actually a really good way to take advantage of this feature. So if you trap a bunch of creepers in a pit full of water and then place TNT above the pit, you can then bait a skeleton into shooting the TNT. Once the TNT activates and explodes, all the creepers will die and each drop a music disc. In Minecraft, if the player is wearing a full set of netherite armor without enchantments, it will take a total of 12.5 seconds for the player to die in lava. Although Endermen teleport away when they're hit by a tipped arrow, they are still inflicted with the effects of the arrow, which is really weird. Placing a bed underwater actually creates a small air pocket. This means the player can sleep in a bed underwater without the worry of drowning, which is, interesting. In Minecraft, we have 3 different pumpkin variants: the uncarved pumpkin, the carved pumpkin, and the jack-o'-lantern. But did you know that uncarved pumpkins were added years after the carved pumpkin and jack-o'-lantern? That's right, the carved pumpkin was simply called a pumpkin at the time and was added back in Minecraft Alpha in 2010. You could also find naturally generated carved pumpkins in your world in Minecraft Alpha, which is weird to look back at now since the pumpkins you find today are uncarved. But yeah, the uncarved pumpkin wasn't added into Minecraft until the 1.13 aquatic update in 2018. I can see why the carved pumpkin is angry at the uncarved one. It took 8 years for it to be added. If you stand on top of a fence, you'll notice there's a big gap between you and the fence. This is because the top of a fence has the hitbox of 1.5 blocks, which is kinda strange. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the early versions of Alpha, going into third person F5 mode was kind of buggy. This was because every time you entered third person mode in early Alpha, you would be surrounded by a bunch of water particles which looked really weird. In Java Edition, sticks can be crafted into ladders to gain a slight bonus in fuel efficiency when using a furnace. This is because 7 sticks can smelt 3.5 items in a furnace, whereas if you use the 7 sticks to craft 3 ladders, 4.5 items can be smelted instead. If you look closely at the hotbar square textures, you'll notice that it's just a sand texture with low opacity. I'm not gonna lie, this blew my mind when I first discovered this. When the hardcore game mode was announced to be added into Minecraft, Notch actually joked about adding an ultra hardcore mode as well. Now, ultra hardcore meant that the player would lose their Minecraft account if they died on said mode. Now, this was of course a joke made by Notch, but could you imagine the outrage of players if it was real? It would be mayhem! Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in Beta 1.9 pre-release 3, strongholds were a lot easier to find. This was because each stronghold had tall glass pillars above the surface that would indicate where the main entrance of the portal room was. When the time of day changes suddenly in Minecraft, the clock dial spins rapidly to catch up to the time change. For example, if I use the time set command, you'll see the clock will rapidly spin up to adjust to that time. If you happen to be on fire, then you can walk over an unlit campfire and light it. But for whatever reason, this feature only works in Bedrock Edition. The only reason cakes were actually added into Minecraft is because Notch said he would add cake if Minecraft won the 2010 Indie Game of the Year awards. Spoiler alert guys, Minecraft won the award, which is why we now have delicious cake. As you know, the beacon's light colour can be changed by using stained glass. You can also make different colour combinations by using different stained glass colours. This means there are a total of 12,326,391 different beacon colour combinations. Oh my god, that was an absolute mouthful saying all of that. Zombies drop the most items in Minecraft out of any other mob in the game. That's right, zombies can drop rotten flesh, iron ingots, carrots, potatoes, baked potatoes, iron shovels, iron swords, and any type of armor they spawn with. Zombies can also spawn wearing a pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern on its head during Halloween. This means they're able to drop the pumpkins upon death as well. As you know, rabbits were added into Minecraft in version 1.8 in 2014. However, what you probably didn't know is that rabbits were originally going to be added in the survival test version in 2009. The original plan for rabbits is that when attacked by the player, the rabbits would pop into many pieces and start bleeding? What? Okay, I'm not surprised this version of the rabbit was never added because it just sounded terrible. Nice voice crack, Anthony. Anyways, moving on. The death sound audio file for killing a rabbit in Minecraft is called bunnymurder.ogg. So, yeah, don't kill rabbits because it's just wrong. Despite the beacon having obsidian in its crafting recipe, it does not need a diamond pickaxe to be mined. Instead, you can mine the beacon with any tool, which is very lovely. If the player has 37 shulker boxes in their inventory hotbar and offhand slot, you're able to hold 999 64 stacked items. This allows the player to hold up to 63,973 items at once. The painting, known as Skull on Fire, actually contains a Minecraft world in the background of the artwork. Now, this world is actually based on a real Minecraft screenshot that was taken by the artist in version Alpha 1.1.2. If it happens to be raining in your Minecraft world, then the wait time for catching a fish is reduced by 20%, meaning you'll definitely want to fish when it rains. If you decide to fish in water that's not exposed to the sky, then the wait time for catching a fish is increased by 40%, so yeah, don't do this. The Ender Dragon is the only mob in Minecraft that is not able to be named with a name tag. What gives, man? I can name a Wither subscribe to iDeactivate MC, which you should definitely do, by the way. Why can't I name a dragon? Sand, red sand, anvils, and dragon eggs will drop as items if they fall onto a boat that's placed in water. When diamonds were first added in Minecraft InDev in 2009, they were originally called emeralds by Notch. This technically meant emeralds were added into Minecraft a lot sooner than we thought. A chest full of 64 stacked rails will provide a total length of 1,728 meters when placed. This equates to more than 1 mile, which is a lot of rails. So we all know if you don't sleep in your bed for 3 Minecraft days, then phantoms will begin to spawn and attack you. However, this will not happen in a mushroom biome, as this is the only biome in the overworld in which hostile mobs cannot spawn. This means you can explore a mushroom biome for as long as you want without sleeping, as the phantoms cannot get anywhere near you. It's also worth noting that once you leave the mushroom biome, you will be attacked by a bunch of phantoms depending on how many days it's been since you slept. The Warden is able to survive a fall from the build height limit all the way down to bedrock. This means the Warden can survive a 384 block fall, which is insane. You guys are built different. Anyways, moving on. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, in the beta days of the game, a bug existed in the game with doors. So if the player was to place a door next to a 2-tall cactus, then only half the door would get destroyed for some reason. This left you with half a door for some reason. It looked weird. The Woodland Mansion is a very rare, dangerous structure in Minecraft. However, if cleared out safely, the loot can be quite rewarding. This is because there are 2 rooms within the mansion that can be generated with diamond blocks. That's right, if you're lucky enough to find the obsidian room, you'll find a diamond block concealed within the obsidian. The other room is the lava room, which contains a glass case with lava inside. Clear out the lava within the glass case and you'll find another diamond block. It's also worth noting that Woodland Mansions are the only place in which a diamond block can generate. So yeah, they're pretty rare. Hoppers in Minecraft can transfer 9,000 items per hour, which also amounts to 150 items per minute. That's a lot of items. Foxes love to hold items in their mouths. What's interesting is if a fox takes fatal damage and is holding a totem of undying, it will actually use the totem and receive its effects. You got lucky, fox, you got lucky. In Minecraft, bamboo has taken the record of being the fastest growing plant in the game. That's right, bamboo can grow by 1 every 200 seconds and can grow up to a total of 12 to 16 blocks. Those pandas are so lucky, man, they pretty much have an endless supply of bamboo. In Minecraft Java Edition, bats are actually able to spawn more frequently between October 30th and November 3rd. This was obviously done to celebrate Halloween, which is pretty cool. The blue music disc in Minecraft that is known as Wait was originally called Where Are We Now? This was a likely change due to the original name of the music disc being far too long. The first ever splash text to ever be added into Minecraft was known as Pre-Beta, and it was added in the in-dev phase in early 2010. Back in the earlier days of Minecraft, there used to be only two flowers in the game, which was the rose and the yellow flower. Now, for the longest time, the yellow flower was just called flower, but when all the other flowers were added in the 1.7 update, the flower was renamed to the dandelion. A dandelion definitely sounds a lot more descriptive than just a flower. The hay bale. We all know it's a useful block, as you can get a bunch of wheat from it, which allows you to make a bunch of bread. The hay bale was added in the 1.6 update, but did you know it wasn't always called this? That's right, during the early snapshot phase for 1.6, the hay bale was originally called the hay block. But then in a later snapshot for 1.6, the hay block was renamed to the hay bale, and that's how it's been ever since. In Minecraft, there are loads of different copper related blocks to choose from, but the one copper block to pay attention to is the block of copper, and here is why. So when the block of copper was added in the 1.17 Caves and Cliffs update, it was originally called the copper block in the snapshot. But then in a later snapshot for the 1.17 update, the copper block was renamed from being called the, well, copper block to the block of copper. I know, that was the most interesting change in Minecraft history. Anyways, moving on. In Minecraft Java Edition, a pork chop when it's cooked is simply called cooked pork chop. But in Minecraft Bedrock Edition, the cooked pork chop, for whatever reason, was renamed to say cooked beef. Why this food item has a different name between the two platforms, I'll never know. So we all know in Minecraft we have the melon seeds, the melon slice, and the melon block. But did you know for the longest time both the melon slice and the melon block were both just simply called melon? But then in the 1.13 aquatic update, the melon that you can eat was renamed from being called melon to the melon slice. So we all know that turtle scute is used to craft a turtle shell, which can be worn by the player and allows them to breathe underwater for longer. However, did you know that turtle scute wasn't always called this? That's right, when the turtle scute was first added in the 1.13 snapshot, it was originally called the turtle shell piece. But then in a later snapshot for 1.13, it was renamed from a turtle shell piece to simply be called a scute. But it doesn't end there, as in the 1.20.5 update, the scute was renamed to be called the turtle scute, and that's what it's been called ever since. The monster spawner was added into Minecraft in the InfDev phase all the way back in 2010. They were added alongside dungeons, which were the only structure in Minecraft at the time. Now, the only way to obtain the monster spawner in old versions of Minecraft was by using commands, and as you can see, the item name for the block at the time was monster spawner. But then, for whatever reason, in the 1.13 aquatic update, the monster spawner was renamed to simply say spawner. But then, in a random snapshot for 1.19.3, the spawner was renamed back to monster spawner. I guess the name spawner was a bit too boring, so they changed it back. Okay guys, this next item rename is a huge one, because the large chest was renamed to the large chest in release 1.3? That's right, in 1.3, the large chest inventory title was changed to have a capital C, which is a massive change for Minecraft, I know. The Ravager was added in the 1.14 Village and Pillage update. Now, the Ravager is indeed a very scary mob that can mess you up pretty bad, but did you know it wasn't always called the Ravager? That's right, during the snapshot phase for the 1.14 Village and Pillage update, the Ravager was originally called the Illager Beast. Since the Ravager was originally called the Illager Beast, the spawn egg for the mob was also called this. But then in a later snapshot for 1.14, the Illager Beast was officially renamed to the Ravager, which meant the spawn egg was renamed as well. Sandstone was added into Minecraft in Beta 1.2 in 2011, but we didn't get the Sandstone variant until Release 1.2 in 2012. What's interesting is during Release 1.2, Sandstone, along with its variants, did not have unique item names and instead all shared the name Sandstone. It wasn't until Release 1.3 where all the Sandstone variants were given their own unique item names. Now, despite the Sandstone variants receiving their own names in version 1.3, the Smooth Sandstone block was eventually renamed to Cut Sandstone in the 1.13 Aquatic update. This was likely done as another Smooth Sandstone block was added in Release 1.5, where if you smelted sandstone in a furnace, you would get another block called Smooth Sandstone. So yeah, it definitely would have been very confusing if there were two sandstone blocks called Smooth Sandstone. Not only was Smooth Sandstone renamed to Cut Sandstone in 1.13, the red variant of the sandstone block was also renamed. That's right, in the Aquatic update, the Smooth Red Sandstone was renamed to Cut Red Sandstone. Deep Slate is a stone type found deep underground in the overworld, and it functions similar to regular stone, but it takes significantly longer to break. Now, Deep Slate was added in the 1.17 Caves and Cliffs update, but did you know it wasn't always called Deep Slate? That's right, during the early snapshot phase for the 1.17 update, the Deep Slate block was originally called Grimstone. But then in a later snapshot for 1.17, the texture and model of Deep Slate was changed, as well as being renamed from Grimstone to Deep Slate. Now, according to Minecraft developer Brandon Pierce, the reason for changing the name Grimstone to Deep Slate was because the word grim had too many connotations related to a negative feeling. He also stated that the name Deep Slate was eventually chosen because of its location within the world, and it more accurately represented that it is a type of slate. I like that they also stated that Grimstone sounded cooler, because I do agree, I think Grimstone does sound cooler than Deep Slate as block names go, but Deep Slate definitely represents the block a lot better. Wheat seeds. We've all used them, you plant them and then they grow and then you make some bread with it. But did you know that the wheat seeds before the 1.13 Aquatic update were just called seeds? Yeah, I know, that's really interesting, isn't it? But yeah, in a random snapshot for 1.13, the seeds were renamed to wheat seeds, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, moving on, frogs, along with tadpoles and frog spawn, were added in the wild update. But did you know in the experiment phase for the wild update in Bedrock Edition, frog spawn actually had a different name? That's right, instead of being called frog spawn, it was instead called frog egg. But then in a later experiment test build, the frog egg was renamed to frog spawn. But it doesn't end there, because right as the wild update was going to be released for Bedrock Edition, the frog spawn was renamed once again to just be one word, as it was two words before. Carrots were added in the Minecraft 1.4 update all the way back in 2012, and yes, I did say carrots plural, as the old texture used to be a bunch of carrots instead of just a single carrot. This also reflected in its item name, as when the carrots had this texture, it was called carrots in the inventory instead of carrot. But then in a later update for 1.4, the carrot texture was changed to be a single carrot, and the item was renamed from carrots to carrot. Oh my god, how many times did I say carrot just then? Anyways, moving on. The soul torch is a blue torch variant that was added in the 1.16 Nether update. But did you know during the snapshot phase for the 1.16 Nether update, the soul torch was instead called the Soulfire torch? This didn't last too long, as in a later snapshot for 1.16, the Soulfire torch was renamed to the Soul torch. The same also applies to the Soul lantern, as during the snapshot phase for the 1.16 update, it was instead called the Soulfire lantern. The brown mushroom and the red mushroom have been in Minecraft since pretty much the beginning of time, as they were added all the way back in the classic phase in 2009. Now, for the longest time, both the brown and red mushroom were just called mushroom in the inventory. But then in the 1.13 Aquatic update, the names of the mushrooms were changed to be called the brown mushroom and the red mushroom respectively. So we all know in Minecraft today, the clay ball and the clay block have their own own different names. The clay ball is called, well, clay ball, and the clay block is simply called clay. But back in the earlier days of Minecraft, before the 1.16 Nether update, both of these blocks were simply called clay. In the 1.7 update in 2013, Minecraft added a new fish type that you could catch with a fishing rod, and this new fish was the clownfish. Now, the clownfish remained mostly unchanged over the years, but this all changed in the 1.13 aquatic update, and here is why. So the 1.13 aquatic update added a bunch of new fish to swim around in the water, and one of the fish types you can find are tropical fish. Now, as you know, when you kill a tropical fish mob, it will drop a tropical fish as an item. But did you know this tropical fish item was originally the clownfish, as in the snapshot phase for 1.13, this fish was renamed from clownfish to tropical fish. I mean, I'll be real, whenever I look at this tropical fish texture, I just think of Marlin the clownfish from Finding Nemo. End crystals are entities that are found on top of obsidian pillars. Destroying them helps you defeat the Ender Dragon. End crystals can also be crafted into item form that allows the player to respawn the dragon as well. When end crystals were added all the way back in beta 1.9 in 2011, they were instead called Ender crystals. These entities were called Ender crystals all the way up to the 1.9 combat update, where they were finally renamed to the End crystals, and that's how they've been ever since.